What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been some time since I've posted really anything about the car since December 1st, which was the last time we took this to the track to Road Atlanta. And I kind of wanted to answer two questions based off of that video, kind of give you an update of like what's going on and kind of the future plans for the car. So really quick, last video, track day, we took the car to Road Atlanta just to test the setup. And this was my first time with Chin. Now normally I ride or I run with a group called Performance Driving Group. They mainly just run 2 or 3 tracks in Florida and that's it. And one of them is being Sebring, which is basically my home track. Good group of guys, real laid back, people are friendly, professional, and I kind of like, you know, I met a bunch of people and it's kind of like my go-to for a group to run with. Now, because I moved to Georgia, I can't run with them, so I try to get in with Chin. Send in all my information, track time, whatever they wanted, and they put me in a group. I still rode with the chief instructor, won't say anyone's name, to kind of get in with Chin and to kind of travel with Chin because they go to Florida, Georgia, I think either further north. So I want to get in with them. And this time with Road Atlanta, I got a lot of, I don't know, I don't want to say negative feedback or criticism, but a lot of people were saying kind of bad driving, not doing point by, stuff like that. And because I think if you knew who I was and kind of what I do, you wouldn't say that at all. Because one, it wasn't my goal at all. Like I definitely don't want to ruin anyone's track time, my own or anyone else's. I will say that Chin is more by the book, where a couple different organizations that I've been with, they're a little more laid back. And I didn't want to say I was out there just willy-nilly doing whatever I want. Because you can clearly see in my last video, I was doing a lot of point buys. And I don't want to just break rules or bend them. Road Atlanta is a good track that if you're going to pass me, there's a lot of straightaway to do that. Especially when I max out my 5th gear at 130 and I'm just kind of coasting. Now I'm not trying to like make excuses, but I think if you knew me and you've been following along, you know I'm not like an a-hole on track. And I've had really good experiences on track. Even when I can't pass somebody and I'm in their mirror for a long time, you know, I'll flash the lights and still they may not let me pass. Yeah, it's annoying, and yeah, I might lose that section or that lap, but what do I do as a driver? Well, I can't really do much on track. I can't force somebody to do something that I want, especially for like just a high performance driving event. If this was like a real race, it'd be different. I just kind of do a small little cool down lap, let the person in front of me kind of give him some distance, and then I can start pushing. Not ideal, but again, I can't control that, what people do. For me, at Road Atlanta, totally new track. And if you've been on Road Atlanta, you know it's a lot of fun. It's more fun than Sebring. But then you have that risk factor, which kind of brings the fun factor down a little bit. Because there's just not a lot of room for error with Road Atlanta, especially coming, I mean, gosh, turn 12. I personally know people who have wrecked. I've seen cars that have wrecked. You know, it's a high risk, high reward style track. And for it being my first time on a environment where it's really cold, the lows that day were like in the mid 20s. I think the highs got up into like the low 40s, which decent for cooling and horsepower, but not for the tires. Especially Hoosiers, they don't heat up as fast as street tires. So I have a new track, really cold, learning a new setup. I had a buddy of mine ride with me for the first time, so I don't know what he's like. Same thing, had an instructor, and it's like I'm not pushing 10/10. Now, some of you were like, oh, we'll drop down to class. I feel like I can hang with the intermediate, I will say, especially now with the car being turbocharged. But you can clearly see in my video, I was pointing people by. Chin allows you to use the blinker. I'll start doing that. There were some times to where like some people would get in my mirror and then I would pull away. Then they'd kind of get back in there, and we're just kind of doing this whole song and dance. And if I would have pointed that person by, it would have been the same thing. They pull away, I catch up. They pull away, so it really doesn't matter. Probably should have just still let them go by. What else? I didn't get any negative feedback. Normally, it takes a lot, I think, for people to really say anything. If I'm really, causing someone to have a bad time on the track. Again, had people riding with me, didn't say anything. I think what I'm showing you on footage, like, it's hard to really see what's going on, especially in context. But it's definitely not my goal. I've had sessions and laps ruined by, again, people who just probably shouldn't be there. So I get it, and I definitely don't want to be that guy. So forgive me for what it looked like of me just not obeying, kind of track rules and stuff like that. Definitely not my goal. A lot of you that did comment, responded back, and then it was like I brought the tone down. A lot of you were like super respectful and understanding. So that was really cool. But I did notice that question pop up a lot, that probably could have, done some things better on track, and I admit, we probably all could. The second question I got was, how come I couldn't pull or floor it in 6th gear? My car was maxing out at 130. Reasons for that is just load in 6th gear. It's such a big overdrive. 5th gear is 1-to-1. I don't have to worry about things a whole lot. Now, I say that to say this. If you guys have been following me along, you notice that I had a boost creeps issue. But I didn't really have it in 2nd or 3rd gear. I started getting boost creep to the top of 4th gear. Again, just more RPM, more load. So imagine 5th gear, how much the creep would have been, and then 6th gear. I mean, the motor would probably would explode top of 4th. I think we're running out of fuel on the stock fuel pump at around 12 psi. So there's some food for thought there. If you're gonna turbocharge your car, I'm on 1300cc injectors, stock fuel pump. And Zach was saying we started to run out of fuel around 12 psi. So, and that's on E85. Pump gas may be different. Me personally, I wouldn't push this motor on pump gas that high. So let's go back to 6th gear, the load. Now I'm gonna try to explain this as best as I can. So imagine you're riding a mountain bike, like a 10-speed mountain bike, right? And you're in 1st gear and you're pedaling so fast, there's not much resistance load in your legs. You can do that all day long. Not really going really fast. And then you click into 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and then you start to feel more resistance, more load on your legs, but you can power through it. You start clicking in the high gear, 7th, 8th, and you're still muscling it, your legs will give out. The nerves sending a signal to your brain saying, hey, it's too much, we gotta calm it down. And that's what happens. The issue is that the rods aren't connected to the ECU. All it's looking for is temp, make sure it's not knocking, and it's gonna keep making boost and keep pushing and pushing and pushing. The issue is that high RPM, the motor's, I wanna say, in a safe zone, because the load is not so much there like it is low RPM. When I shift into 6th gear, I'm taking all that boost load, the resistance, just driving through the wind, and it's like the RPMs drop, I'm shoving boost onto it and the RPMs just barely move. Barely moving. There's just so much heat, cylinder pressure, load. It's so much going on that the rods just won't take it. I know, I hate to say it, but I feel like I'm on borrowed time. This is a stock motor that wasn't designed for anything that we're doing if you're doing road racing stuff, especially when you're throwing boost on it. That's why I went with slightly a bigger turbo to keep the boost down. I keep it on E85. I'm doing everything that I can to keep this thing safe. This car is night and day with an extra 100 horsepower, and I believe 6 PSI is going to give me that 100 horsepower. I go to 10, 11 pounds. I guarantee it's an extra 200 horsepower. And it's like you're just asking for it. So that's why I don't pull in 6th gear. But Road Atlanta, Sebring, there's some, big boy tracks that the straightaways are so long that it's like I'm just defeating myself by, keeping it in 5th gear, hitting 130, and now I'm just cruising. And obviously we're going for lap times. I want to have fun, want to push the car, and I just can't. Like, imagine me chasing somebody or someone chasing me. Again, not racing, but you know how it is out there. And all of a sudden, you start pulling a gap on them, and then they just pass you because it's like, well, I can't shift in a 6 or in floor it. So there's 2 ways we can solve this. 3 really. Beat the hell out of the motor, put some strong rods in there, which is probably still not ideal to put that much load on the motor, especially for the rods. We can shorten 6th gear, so don't have such a huge overdrive. We'll shorten it down. But I gotta pull the trans, I gotta send the trans out there. The gear itself is like $300-400 bucks. I think Jack's Transmission, they sell that 6th gear, shortened 6th gear. So that's one way we can do it. The other way is put a different gear, rear gear in the car. So this is 411. I'm gonna be putting in, after this video, I'm gonna be putting in a 373 rear gear out of the IS300. So the goal is there with a slightly taller tire. Now these, I'm running a 225/40/18 Hoosier on a 9.5 inch wheel. It's a decent little stretch. I did that to kind of run with the NASA TT5 rules for the tire template. And I believe this tire, don't quote me, it's like 4.8 inches tall. The factory wheel is like 25.8 or 26 something. Anyway, it's taller than this tire. So I'm hoping, keeping the factory rev limiter at 7,400 with the 373 in 5th gear and a slightly taller tire, I'm hoping to see around 150 miles an hour. So from 130 to 150. I hope that is enough for Road Atlanta, because I would hate to still max out. I mean, 150, it's moving. We'll see. So that's kind of my goal. Again, just can't pull in 6th gear. It's like I don't know. Imagine you're running on the beach and then someone just dumped like a 100-pound vest on you. Like, you're gonna feel it, and you're not gonna be able to run as fast, but that load's still on your back. So that's that. Again, I'm just sharing what I'm doing with my car. You do whatever you want. But I don't think I'm ever gonna tell you what to do and what not to do. Hopefully you learn from me. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So that's kind of my plan. After this video, I'm gonna be doing an install video. We're gonna put the diff in the car. So that answers question 2. What's been going on with the car over these last few months? Nothing. Georgia got pretty cold. It snowed multiple times this year, which is not normal. Even 2 weeks ago, we got slight snow flurries. And the car runs so cold on the street that, you know, with the radiator, the cooler thermostat, even with the oil cooler 2/3 of the way blocked because of the intercooler, I still can't get the temps up. So, which is kind of a bummer in the wintertime, but should be good in the summertime. It did well on track, but it's also 30-40 degrees. So Zach said he feels comfortable to turn up the boost based off of the logs he saw at Road Atlanta. Again, low boost, it was cold, E85, like he's got this thing dialed in. So I was like, cool, I'm just gonna turn up the boost now, get kind of the tuning and stuff done, and go to the track, you know, kind of turn it up and see what he says. The issue is that when I went from my 6.5, I kept turning it up a little by little with a manual controller. We got to right around 10.5-ish pounds, and it took the clutch out. So the clutch started to slip down low RPM it did. When I'm sending him the logs, I'm flooring it right around 25-ish hundred RPMs, and this turbo just comes on. It's really efficient, and you can hear the clutch starting to slip. So I turned the boost down. Because of that, we're back to 6.5 psi, and I have the clutch and flywheel because it's been so cold. I'm not gonna lay on my back and do a clutch in this thing. I got to the point with doing the turbo kit, pulling the kit, you know, on and off, fixing the creep, wrapping it, then doing motor mounts and all this stuff. I just got to the point to where I knew if I had to keep working on this thing, that the enjoyment it wasn't going to be there for me. And right now I'm really enjoying the car. It is a blast. I mean, it's just the horsepower, you know, supercharged turbo, whatever it is, it makes a big difference. So I'm really happy with it. I had a blast at the track knowing that I can hang with like the Caymans and GT4s and just faster cars. Yeah, they're still faster on the straight, but they used to drag me. I mean, just it was like it wasn't even fair or fun. But now it's like, oh, I can hang with some of the best. So it's really cool. So the future plans for the car are gonna drop in a slightly bigger pump, 340. I'm not gonna go bigger. It's really no need. I'd probably turn the boost up to 8-9 psi, and this turbo, it's not huge. It's a G3660. It's I believe it's a 54 millimeter. So knowing what I know now, I probably should have done this G3770, because this thing just comes, it lights up fast. And I didn't want that. I didn't want the turbo to hit so hard down low. I'd rather have a little bit lag and bring the power in later. And I thought this turbo would have done that versus the 550, and I'm sure it does. But if I could do it again, I would have done the 770, and just so it doesn't hit as hard down low. I forget where I was even going with that. Oh, so fuel. 340, I don't want to go such a big fuel pump. There's no need for it. And the bigger the pump, the more it's going to want to drain that basket where the fuel sits. Now that the car's turbocharged and boosted, we're running E. I'm going to be, you know, I definitely probably won't push it much under half a tank. So I'm always going to keep, you know, closer to a full tank while I'm on track. Diff, we got the clutch, we got a light and flywheel, do fuel pump. Eventually, I kind of want to get used to the power at 6 psi, which is, again, to me, it's plenty. It's easy to get power hungry and just make an extra 100. It's just so easy. We're waiting for some pieces to come from RaceBred, doing a new splitter, same size, same 4-inch, but we're doing tunnels and we're doing end plates, and I might not so much lower the car, but lower the splitter just a little bit. Again, I'm making a bunch of power, but I want to be a little bit faster in the turns, so we're going to play with the aero. I want to do eventually fender garnish, fender vents, bigger hood vent. Road Atlanta, I thought the hood was gonna like come off. Again, it was so cold, the air was so dense that it was you can see the hood was lifting. Even with that small little hood vent, just wasn't enough. Might kind of cut the bumper a little bit more. Try to flatten the floor, some of the Veer stuff, just to kind of reduce some of the drag and just kind of make the car more efficient. It's got the power. Now I just want to work on the aero. Again, I'm running a 225 Hoosier. I'll squeeze a 245. Again, go slightly taller. And man, that's really it. And I just want to enjoy it. Future track plans, again, once it heats up here in Georgia, man, I want to go to Barber, I want to go to A&P, I want to go back to Road Atlanta. But before I do all that, my goal is to run back at Sebring before the summertime and see what, let's just call it an extra 100 horsepower will do at Sebring. My best time was 230, and we'll see what turbocharging it will do. So hopefully I can do that maybe in April, May, before it gets too hot in Florida. And that's it. I appreciate you guys reaching out to me. There's a few who were kind of asking me like, hey, what's going on? Haven't heard from you, haven't seen you. Did you blow it up? Like, I just kind of vanished. And it really, because I'm not doing anything with the car at all. I actually put pump gas in it just so the E85 is not sitting there for months, especially with the new injectors and stuff. So anyway, that's the plan. Next video you'll see, we will throw the diff in there. I'll do a diff install video, probably a video of just reviewing the diff. We'll do the splitter if I get everything in time. And hopefully Sebring track video. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and following along. We will see you in the next one.